Hey, good morning, friends. Pastor Jason with our Friday check-in on this sunny, crisp, beautiful October morning. We're going to go back to Job a bit here this morning. The scripture from last week that we've been talking about some this week comes from Job chapter 28. And as I mentioned Tuesday in my video, I'm going to skip ahead in Job some for us today. This comes from chapter 38 of the book of Job, and this says under the heading of "The Lord Answers Job." So Job and his friends, they've been pontificating, they've been talking, they've been working out all of the mysteries of life, and at this point God has had enough, and God needs to come and set them straight. Verse 1: Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind. Who is it that darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up your loins like a man. I will question you, and you shall declare to me. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched this line upon it? On what were its bases sunk? Or who laid its cornerstone? When the morning stars sang together and all the heavenly beings shouted for joy? Who shut the sea with doors when it burst out from its womb? When I made the clouds its garment and the thick darkness its swaddling band, and prescribed bounds for it and set bars and doors, and said, thus far shall you come, and no farther. And here shall your proud waves be stopped. And this comes over and over. God questions Job. Have you seen where I keep the rain? Have you seen the storehouses of snow? Tell me, you understand so much. You talk as if you know how all of this happened. Tell me, explain to me, the one who actually did it, how I did it. Job is left a little speechless. Job feels a little bit ashamed. Ultimately, God restores him, if you don't know how the end of the story goes. But I want to go back to this and verse 4, and just real quick. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? See, that's the specific pointed question that God has for Job in this moment. You claim to have understanding. You claim to have knowledge. You claim to be able to discern and decipher what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad, what is holy, and what is not. Okay, so where were you when I formed the world? It's a very direct, pointed, perspective-shifting question that God throws at Job to bring Job into the place where God can talk to him. For all of the philosophical meanderings that Job has been doing, God knows he has to ground Job into something basic. Say, hey, okay, your words are great, wonderful. But where were you when I formed the world? I think just that's enough just to get Job to stop and listen and pique his interest, so that then God can really unload and unpack the full lesson, the full meaning for him. The question that God asks Job from the whirlwind is, where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Where were you when I formed the world? And I wonder, this leads me then to wonder what that question is going to be for us, for you and me on earth now, in this generation. When God comes to speak to us in the whirlwind or whatever manner he sees fit, I'm afraid the question's not going to be, where were you? I'm afraid the question is going to be, where are you? I'm afraid God's going to come to us, friends, in the whirlwind or in the however he chooses to come. He's just say, where are you as I try to restore creation? Where are you as I try to renew creation? Where are you in the midst of all this violence and all of this hate and all of this stuff that I never intended for this world? Where are you now? I've had a lot of time these last couple of weeks to really kind of deep dive into some of this stuff, and I, much like Job needed to be grounded with that. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? I think that's what God is crying out to us now, to get us centered, to change our perspective, to get us grounded on what's important. If God came and spoke to you today in a whirlwind and said, where are you in the midst of what I'm trying to do? Friends, how would you answer that? Would you feel comfortable with your answer? Would you feel confident in your answer? If God comes to speak to you and says, where are you in my mission to bring peace and hope and love to the entire world? And your response is, I was afraid to go outside because someone might disagree with me. I was afraid to really speak the truth. I was afraid to take advantage of an opportunity, God, that you presented me just because I'm unsure of what's going to happen. God comes and asks us, where are you? And what if our response is, God, I didn't think you meant to go to that person. God, I didn't think you meant to go to those people and spread your message. God speaks to Job from a whirlwind, from the whirlwind, and stops him in his track, gets his mouth to shut, to get him to focus with the question of, where were you when I laid the foundations of the world? God has to stop him, quiet him, confront him, very direct with that question, so that then he can go on further to explain things to him. Maybe that is the question that God will still confront us with, but not to make this go too much longer, friends. I think you get my point. But as you're sitting around talking with your friends, as you're sitting about going about your day at work, talking to whoever, as you're going about your daily interactions on social media, whatever it may be, if a whirlwind appears, if God comes and speaks to you and says, where are you as I'm trying to restore, recreate, renew, bring peace to this earth, where are you? Do we feel good about what we've been doing to fulfill God's mission, or does that make us, or does that knock us back? Does that bring us down to earth? Does that make us think a little bit, to change our perspective? Does that make us bristle a bit? That may very well be what God is trying to get us to do, friends, because God's inviting us in. God invites us to participate with him in the renewal of the world, in the salvation of the world. God invites us into that, and he's begging us to today, this very day, friends, where are you in God's plan, in God's mission? If you're able to, it's Job 38 that we shared from today, worth a look, worth some reflection, maybe worth spending some time thinking about those things, thinking about that question today, friends. Where are you in God's plan to renew and restore the world and humanity? Thanks for spending this time together today, friends. Hope you have a great day. So look forward to seeing you guys on Sunday. It's going to be awesome. We'll talk more about that tomorrow in our video. But friends, have a wonderful day. Be safe and be well, and just remember how much that you are loved. You are loved so much that God invites you to participate with Him in all of the amazing good things that He wants to do for this world.